Hello, my name is Ryan Tabor, and I'm a solutions consultant with Beyond 20. Today I'm going to be going through stepping through a links relationship. There are times during Cherwell development where you might need an action to run against a relationship. Stepping through owned by relationships is fairly self-evident, such as stepping through all approvals or tasks. However, stepping through links relationships are not quite as intuitive. They do, however, give a lot of versatility to your processes. In this demonstration, I will create a use case in which I will define an ad hoc relationship, which I will then use in a customized approval automation. If I needed to run an automation to create an approval record for every user who is both a member of an approval team and an owned by team, it would be very difficult to manage. If I define our links relationship, though, I can have Cherwell create a list of users who meet this criteria, then step through that list to generate my approvals. To get started, I will be in the orange client. Previously, I've created a team called Approvers, which I have populated with a list of individuals whom I wish to authorize to approve. I have also stored the team ID of this new team in a stored value. So first, I will open a new blueprint and navigate to the Incident Relationships Manager. For creating links relationships to supporting objects or lookup tables, you cannot use the Relationship Wizard. Instead, I will need to manually create the relationship by clicking Add. It's best practice to name your relationships in the same format as the Relationship Wizard. This helps keep track of which instance you have created. For this relationship, I will name it Incident Links Valid Approvers. It will be a links relationship that can be added to any number of related items. The child object we are interested in will be the user info table. This is where the technician data is stored for the users in the system. Next, I will go to the Links tab. Here is where we will define how the relationship will be constrained. In this relationship, we will be setting up a custom link. Check Use Constraints and Add New Constraint. It is important to note that all constraints are treated as AND comparisons and cannot use OR statements. So, carefully consider how your relationship will be defined before beginning this process to make sure you return the data you are expecting. For our purposes, select User Info Rec ID is a member of a team, and here is where I will use my stored value that I previously saved of Approval Management. This holds the team ID of the approval team that I'm interested in. This, however, is not the team variable that will cause the relationship to be created ad hoc. I will add a second constraint. The second constraint is the one that will be variable. Once again, add User Info Rec ID is a member of a team owned by team ID. The intersection between these two teams, both the owned by team and those on the approver team, will constitute the data that will be populated in this relationship. Next, in the Advanced tabs, there are two checkboxes that need to be checked. First, Load Immediately brings in the relationship data as soon as the relationship is established. Next, check Reload Relationship when constraint fields change. This establishes the relationship immediately whenever the underlying constraints are modified. Under the Load options, Load Everything is the default. Leave this radio button selected. Select OK. To test this, we will create a one-step to trigger our approval, which will be executed from the incident form. Go to Managers, One-Steps, and I'll create a one-step called Add Approvals from Constraints. Because my chosen method of demoing this process will involve approvals, I know that I will manually need to link these approvals. For this, I will grab the incident ID and store it in a stored value, and save it in a stored value. You would only need to do this if you are attempting to link the business object that you're creating to the parent record. Now onto the relationship. To step through the valid approvers relationship, we will use the Step Through Children action. Within the Child Business Object dropdown, I will select the relationship that we have just created. Incident links valid approvals. Incident links valid approvers. Drilling into the action, we can define what actions we would like the system to take as it steps through this relationship. As we are trying to create approvals, I will add a new business object and select approval, saving the business object after the action and unchecking open record after action. Underneath fields, the parent rec ID will be the stored value that we captured earlier. For the approver name, right-clicking, I see that I have access to all the user info fields. This is the data that's being retrieved as we step through this relationship. Because I want to create an approval for every member of this relationship, I will select user info, full name. To trigger our one step, I will add a simple button named Generate Approvals. And I will make sure that this button is only enabled when relationship data is present. Underneath Disable Expressions, select the user info, select user info rec ID is empty. This will be the criteria used to ensure that our button is disabled when no relationship data is present. For the action, right-click Control Properties and link it to the one step that we just created. Now we can save and publish. Let's navigate to the Blue client to see how this looks. And we will create a new incident. We can see our button down here, and as I expect, the relationship currently has no data in it, so it is disabled. I will fill out the minimum necessary information to save, and I will change the relationship constraints, which should trigger the relationship to load data. So I will change the owned by team to IT management. I can see that my button has been enabled, and if I select it and reload my page, I now see that I have generated 2 approvals. These are the users in the system who are both a member of IT management and the approvers team. So this is a neat way to get around certain constraints in the system and executing actions around arbitrarily defined relationships. I hope you found this interesting and that it sparked some ideas of what you can do in your system. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.